Alright, welcome everybody to the first set of Otaku Shan, which is where Mom and I will be going through several episodes and or seasons of an anime. We will be speaking about every episode that we watch and kind of talking about certain things like maybe what's coming up, stuff like that, maybe even what you think about it. So, our very first one that we'll be doing is the one that's currently popular besides Attack on Titan, and that is Sword Art Online. An anime that is about an online MMORPG where everyone is stuck inside of it and they cannot log out, and basically if you try to leave or someone tries to pull you out, you die. And the object is to reach level 100 and clear the game, because basically it's a typical excuse of the scientist who wants to play God. It's a combination of World of Warcraft meets Frankenstein and Gladiator. That's sort of the way to explain it. And there's no magic and things like that. It's straight up knights, sword fighting, everything. No magic. At least not yet. So, this was the pilot episode where we get introduced to everybody. So as the person on the outside, what did you actually think about it?
Well, the challenge is that because I'm a parent and I've watched my own son, you, get taken up in all this video game stuff, it's a frightening metaphor for what happens, that people lose their souls in these things. So it's intriguing. I'll be curious to see how they play this out, but it's also unnerving for someone of my age.
It's also, unfortunately, very good social commentary, because as one of the characters, Kirito, who is the guy that we're supposed to be rooting for this whole time, he does point out that he can't wait to get lost in this game, which is, of course, what you hear from most people when they start playing Guild Wars, World of Warcraft, or any of the games of that nature. That you get lost in them, and suddenly, 4 days have gone by, and you have not taken a shower, and you probably smell like a corpse. But you were too busy leveling up your level 12 paladin, or something. So it is a pretty good piece of social commentary. And that's always a good thing, because it does give a connection for the audience. So, I actually kind of like Kirito. He's an interesting character. That he was a beta tester, which means he did get to play the game ahead of time, but I kind of like him in the fact that he's not super cocky like many anime characters are to begin with, but he's still sort of like shaken up by all of this. That he's not just going to be the, I'm the badass character who doesn't have to worry about any of this. I can just live through it. Which does get annoying after a while.
So I don't know if I should be making all the comments I am as an older person, but I will, and we'll see how it plays out. The fact that he takes off on his own rather than with a group of people, again, is unnerving to me in the light of some of these things that have gone on in the last couple of years with loners doing very eccentric and crazy things. So I don't know if this show is reinforcing that lone wolf fighting his way through situations. Is that a good thing for the developing psyche of a teenager? Probably not. So that's my concern.
Yeah. Well, and I've only watched 2 episodes so far, and with the one that's coming up next, you see sort of the opposite end of that. And I will not reveal anything, of course, because that will be for episode 2. But let's just say now we're going to see the other half of that coin and what happens when you can get stuck with a group. And we learn a little bit about Kirito himself. Since all we know so far is that he's this lone wolf, but something hidden under that little perspective. Oh, and Klein. Klein was actually a kind of interesting character. He's kind of fun.
Well, my hunch is we'll meet him again.
Yeah. But he's probably going to be one of those, we'll not see him for 4 or 5 episodes, So when he does come back, you guys might want to rewatch the first episode to remember him, because he doesn't leave a super big impression, but it's still kind of enough that he's going to like sit there in the back of your mind. And then when he pops up again, you're going to go, oh, that's Klein. That's that guy who went back for all of his friends and missed his pizza at 5:30.
So not sure what to say. Not sure how this is going to work out. At least of all of the different shows that we previewed, or different series, this was the one that I actually would agree to watch the full episode of, and maybe even watch another one. The others were a little too simplistic for me. This one at least has some complexities that perhaps older people will appreciate as well.
And before you go saying it in the comments, the closest thing she's ever seen to these is like the Miyazaki Ghibli films, like My Neighbor Totoro and stuff like that. So cut a little slack to someone who hasn't tried doing something like this before. This is like my 8th. So I'm okay. So that's why I'm more used to it. So this will also be interesting on her half of it. And other than that, we will see you tomorrow. And remember, bosses suck.